Hello again. How you're doing? Just gonna be doing another live stream. The live stream I did before, I'm redoing again because I didn't like the audio of it, but we'll be doing it again. Hopefully I can turn this live stream into the video, but that's good. That should be fine. So my Bambi rankings is Canis above Latoto, above Live Bambietta, above Minias, above Zombie Bambietta, above Giselle. So Canis destroyed Yokon, which would scale above Ichigo's durability, as Ichigo's required to wear it to go through the 72 layer barrier. Canis's AP is able to directly clash with Ichigo's AP, hands bleeding. If you want to argue that this Ichigo is holding back, yes, that's fine. Whatever, that's okay. Ichigo directly backs away from Candace's wind electric blast. Ichigo tries to dodge it. That's really good for her because she does that in ball standing. None of the other Bambies get that feat in ball standing. They only do that get similar feats in Skylove Ray, and the only person that can do that is actually Latoto, which I'll be talking about soon. Candace Galvano Javelin actually did beat Ichigo's Getsuka. You can see this because the lightning actually kept going forward and repassed where Ichigo was. So what Ichigo did was use a Getsuka Tensho to divert its force. And you can see this here. These videos, those images are just context of that situation. So, while Latoto admitting inferiority to Ichigo, she also admits being Bambi's inferiority to Canis. This is because even if Force Singe could kill him, he exceeds our Darton. You can see this here and here. This means that Latoto, Minius, and Giselle can't do a better job than Canis did as a group. This would also put Canis's VS above their Skylove Ray forms as well. This also shows that Latoto has no knowledge on both Canis's Skylove Ray or Electrocution. This also means Canis is either stronger than or relative to full-brain Ichigo as well, as the Darton would include Ichigo's fight with Quickbeard, as Quincy is not about it happening, either Jukum can tell or Yor can tell. Like, there's multiple assumptions that you can actually make where they would know about those fights. Like, a lot of information about full-brain Ichigo should be in there. That's just like, that's obviously the case. That doesn't matter. So Electrocution, it will be above, Electrocution being below gets a Judicial, but being above gets a Tensho. The Electrocution got some part. That's where that scale goes. Now, you might be saying, why would Latoto be doing something stupid? She literally says, screw it, let's do this. So she knows she's making a stupid decision, and she does it anyway. Anyway, Canis does survive being blown up by Ichigo's Getsuka Jujisho and was burned for 11 seconds. All she lost was her arm and no visible damage on the rest of her body. She also attempted to join the fight afterward after getting her arm restored. That's her feat. Canis did do the best against Shiko. Ichigo, I'll be going through another thing. After the Electrocution, Latoto sees the potential of Canis win against Ichigo. Ishii is more patient, which is shown by her statement, basically more evidence of Canis performing better than her counterparts in the group. Latoto says, calm down, you bitch. Impatience isn't going to win you this fight. I mean, if you want more clarity, that's as clear as you're going to get from a statement. Unless you just don't want to see it. Now, pretty much at this point in the rankings, it goes Canis above. Now, we'll be talking about Bambietta later. None of the other Femiras gets a Tensho or gets a Jujisho. So, like, if you wanted to say that the others are stronger than them, this just upscales it, but in this specific performance that you see, Canis does do better. Does a lot better than the others do. Blatantly. Now, for the rest of the Femras, many does clash with Ichigo. The issue is that the Toto and Candace do better than what she does. All she does is just clash with him with her basic attacks, and dodges one of her name techniques later with like plenty of time to spare. Like what Meninas does at this point isn't really that good. Like the only one that doesn't do as good as Meninas does is Giselle, but that's because Giselle's kind of like memeing around. Like it's hard to take that scene seriously with Giselle there, ironically. At this point, for Minius charge, Ichigo is long gone. So Minius does his technique. Not that, that's the technique. Minius does the technique. At Ichigo there. Ichigo like leaves at this point. And so like he's long gone here and Minius goes over there. And that takes out all three of them. So when Minius hits the her cage, it literally rolls back, takes out all three of them. Giselle, Minius, and the Toto. Like and Ichigo doesn't even need this is just this thing rolling. Like this isn't even the thing hitting you, this is just the thing rolling and it knocks them all out of the fight. So like they don't perform that well. At all. Except from the Toto. Because that knocks out all three of them. Now, this also is their strongest forms. Like, there is no stronger. Like, they're in Skylove Raid. There are no stronger forms above this form. And they're clearly trying because they went in Skylove Raid. Like, they skipped a form. Now, there's also the fact that when Tsushika Ichigo threw them all, Giselle broke her neck. This is actually wrong. This because this is base. This is base. This is when they will shoot the arrows, and after they throw them around, Giselle actually broke her neck, and no one else really took any damage. And then Candace got angry, and then Ken shot the arrow at, which is Ichigo's at Ichigo and destroyed Yoriken. Now, true Shikai Ichigo dodges Skylove Ray Latoto name techniques and catches Skylove Ray Latoto's practice technique. This is Latoto now, between Latoto. Now, what gets Latoto above the rest of her counterparts, excluding Candace, is that with her spiff, she uses her spiff and it hits Ichigo. And this actually pushes Ichigo out of the air. This is her best feat of what she does. Now, that's nowhere near as good as anything that Candace has done because Candace got a Gesuga Tensho out of Ichigo and got a Gesuga Jisho out of it. That's like way better feats than this. Now, so that does put Candace above the Toto, and then the Toto above Meninas, and now we're going to go on to Giselle, which this is going to be on to Giselle. But Giselle easily dodges all her techniques. These are all the things here. Like he literally just moves side to side to side to side and just dodges it. He does destroy their summons. I'm not going to use this too much against Giselle because they're probably detachable and attachable anyway, so it'll probably break no matter who, breaks it, it's probably going to break because it's supposed to bind the opponent. So, like, I won't try to use this too much against Giselle. But the issue is she doesn't have any other better feats, so that's all we have to go off. So right now I have Candace above Latoto, above Meninas, above Giselle. Like it can be more subjective who perform worse than Manny and Giselle, Candice and Latoto. I personally think that getting it gets good Tensha and gets good Jujutsu out of each is way better for Candice than it is for Latoto. Now, from this point on, it is portrayed Bambi's a full standing Basby level opponent. All the Quincy's are alive at this point anyway, same with Renji and, Byakuya. Because Basby, that's the point of that last little fight bit that Renji and Byakuya with the rest of the Soul Reapers stand up to Basby and the rest of the Quincy's. And on top of that, the Bambi specifically are a Volstein Basby level opponent because he thinks that he needs to use a ball standing burner finger one against against um against them, even off guard. So like everyone is like meant to be a ball standing Basby level opponent at this point. Anyway, afterwards, Robert, Candice, and no are all fighting Shikai Byakuya. Shikai, Byakuya, and base Byakuya. Wakiko, he was fighting them in base for a while, and then he switches to Shikai when and then he switches to Shikai at the later parts when he starts trying to finish off opponents. And then he goes Bonkai when against Skylove Ray Robert when Robert goes Skylove Ray. The issue is he doesn't really do that much damage, but that's another video. I won't be producing scans for that because that can be another video for another time. Now, while Volson and Candice was weakened and about to run out of juice, she's able to push back Byakuya back because she tries to use it. How we know she's weakened is that she's been fighting for a long period of time. She went into Skylove Ray. She's electrocution previously, and also she's about when she uses it, tries to use it Getsuga, not Getsuga, Galvano Javelin in ball standing. She just runs out of Reishi, and she runs out of juice. She goes out of ball standing and she gets hit by Shikai Byakuya for one. Now, so the next part is going to be this is where she shows relativity to push back base Byakuya. So we can see her fighting Byakuya, pushing him back. You can argue that in sword play, moving backwards is like part of sword play is to know when to move back with footsteps, footwork, etc. to think. But the momentum is on her side, and she is pushing him forward. And also, he moves away from her, like he moves away from her there, and like he specifically steps away from the fight. So like there is relativity between Candice and that Byakuya. So like even while weakened in all those other things I've added before, I'm not gonna say all of them because like they'll be like adding like 52 different qualifiers just to make the statement. She is a Byakuya level opponent. Now, the issue with her being so weakened now is that her base should be above her. Actually, I talked about this thing. So, Blood is a Monkai difference. So, base Candice should actually be above that. A base Candice with Blood should be above her Vol standing. Because her Vol standing can barely even use a technique, is heavily fatigued. So it should be weaker than a base with Blood, because we know that Blood is Blood translation down here, but it's like common knowledge in the anime because of that keyword statement that came out. Now, in base, so for Byakuya, so the difference between base and Shikai isn't much. Shikai gives you more abilities; it doesn't make you stronger. So it just gives you access to more techniques, more abilities you can use. Um, that, in a sense, can make you stronger, but it doesn't give you a multiplier in of itself to you. Now, once we got that out of the way, this brings us to Latota's statement. It can only be referring to a weakened Candace, as that is the state that she fought in. Keep in mind the argument Latota is making that we are a Byakuya level opponent. They are not, because they lost to Byakuya. The issue is that Candace shows relative to Byakuya while both being weakened and unable to perform Galvano Javelin, while being unable to access Scarlet Ray due to how weakened she was. I'm saying this because the minute she tries to use Galvano Javelin, she immediately thinks, hopefully that thunder doesn't affect the stream too much. Or affect the audio. Now, and so Candace Whip Alert should be over that full standing Candace because of how weakened was. Now, Lototo doesn't know how well Byakuya trained and got stronger. She also thinks that he's like an Aslan victim as well. So like there's so many ways contextually that are happening at play here. And the fact that you even look at Latoto when they're making this statement, Latoto and Meninas, they're literally talking about being Byakuya level opponents while not fighting him at all. They're just like sitting on the sideline. So it's like it's hard to take them seriously per se at their words at the same time. While when you look at the context, you realize I haven't talked about this with Nanana. I'm not trying to use this against Nanana and Robert per se too much. Robert, you can per se because Byakuya was able to handle him easily both in base Shikai and Bonkai. And then like in Bonkai when Robert did his full on charge and shot his most strongest attack, it literally destroys maybe a couple of petals and then the bullet disintegrates. It just doesn't do that well. But for Nanana, Nanana's ability doesn't even work. He tries to look into he's at Byakuya and he wasn't able to see any of the points to use his technique. So there's a lot going on in that statement alone that causes my alarm on this statement for Latoto and Meninas. Here's what to say. Latoto calls them all pathetic, blah blah blah, whatnot, and then Minions walks it back saying, but considering our abilities, I don't think it makes sense that we're the ones left. I guess you're right. I don't know why I didn't copy the where she's going through calling them trash and all that. But like honestly, yeah. By the way, is that really the same guy who got his ass kicked by Byakuya? If so, he's really damn strong, damn bastard. Wait, where the hell did Pepper go? This playing field will be even more even with his powers. So the issue is now they're claiming that they are a Byakuya level opponent, but like they do still need a little bit more help to make the fight more even, which doesn't even make sense. So maybe they're like 30% Byakuya level, both of them together, and it'll be more even with Pepe making it the 50%. Don't know how those qualifiers work in that situation, but the issue is clearly really bad stuff is happening with this statement because like it's all over the place. So it's a faulty conclusion based on the evidence provided. And you look at how poorly Pepe performed because it only works because of his opponent's mindset of how they treat allies. Like they're not willing to kill their opponent, they're not willing to fight. Now, onto Bambietta. Now, to bring this into where Bambietta is, aside from trying to use the leadership argument for Bambietta, which isn't that strong because First of all, it's all implied because of how Bambietta acts, because she acts like an alpha, and the Bambies ditch her, and they kill her off, etc. Blah blah. Honestly, you could actually see that as the saving grace because she lost and she's about to get executed because we see what happens to both Kandu and BG9. And the whole end of the battle war, the whole battle statement from her statement can be just in reference between Bambietta, and Shinji. Now, that can be the reason why this was originally a good statement for because back then it was just war. It was just a war. It was just war. Which meant she could finish clear everyone on the Soul Reaper side from Giselle's own statement, and or put her above Giselle and anyone that she knows because they think she can clear the whole war, but she thinks they can't. But it doesn't work like that because in that's just a fan translation, and in Viz it's always been battle, and battles can be just in reference to like an individual thing. Now, Giselle relies on her own summons as well as Toshiro. My sister just calling me. I'll send her a text message saying live stream. Now, Giselle relies on on her as a summon as well as Toshiro, and the issue with that is Zombie Bambi. Giselle is struggling while using Zombie Bambietta against Yamachika and Ikaku. These are two people you don't want to be struggling against in TOW if you want to be taken seriously. The reason being is, first off, they're well above Toshiro, and Toshiro got absolutely destroyed. Base Toshiro, Shiko Toshiro, like, they got absolutely stomped. This causes issues where, because Toshiro got absolutely stomped by Baz B, this is where the contradiction happens because Giselle's meant to be a Baz B level opponent, but she's struggling against people that should be well below Baz B. And even Toshiro and Base Toshiro and Shika Toshiro are well below Baz B level because Baz B stomps those people. And Ikuko and Yamachika are clearly below him. In Shikai alone. Shikai and Base alone. Now. So this is weird. So now it's creating an area where it appears to be Giselle's getting dramatically weaker. With the assertion of what her other opponents. So this is why I have Canis above Latoto, above Minis, above Zombie Bambietta, above Giselle. Zombie Bambietta has to be above Giselle because Giselle's relying on Zombie Bambietta to fight fights for her. Otherwise, that just wouldn't make sense. Now, Live Bambietta does fight a stronger opponent than Manny does in First Invasion, and Rukia should be well below First Invasion Byakuya because Rukia at that time hasn't had her Royal Guard training yet, and is just a lieutenant. There's nothing to suggest she is a captain level opponent at this time, but aside from the fact that assistant captains could be captain level. Now, they all think that she can be taken about by Soldas without intervention because either she doesn't have Bonkai or we don't know she has Bonkai. But if either of those case, if she does have Bonkai, then it's proven that she cannot be taken by Soldas without intervention. But she has no feats necessarily above that level to place her in relation to other Stone Ridders or other captains. So she just ends up losing here because yes. So this is Manny's best feat at that time, and Alive Bambietta does fight a captain at least. So we'll put Canis above Lacerda, above Alive Bambietta, Alive Bambietta above Miniz, above Zombie Bambietta, above Giselle. Now to deal with the comment where Lacerda states that her and Giselle are the strongest. It was omitted from the anime. If you're a manga viewer and that sort of thing, manga reader, it being omitted not necessarily means that it isn't the case. But the issue is, it probably is the case because we see the exact scene played out, and that scene, the scene itself wasn't omitted. The scene was played out, and there was different words there. So I think it was taken out. I think Kubrick didn't like that aspect and decided it was wrong. Obviously, I'm not getting this from it being implied that it was being omitted from the anime, because now it's just we can't let our forces diminish until His Majesty comes down. Now to deal with the Cuba rankings, all it says is so. Is the order strengthened Bambi's Lacerda, above Giselle, above Miniz, above Bambi, above Candace? That's probably the order with blood. Keep put a marker on probably as well, but I also just say probably the order with battle with blood. So it's giving a specific category. And this is just in that specific category, excluding everything else. So that's excluding script, that's excluding speed, that's excluding a whole lot of things. So is just in this category alone, excluding everything else. That's how the ranking works. Now that's also the same thing afterwards, hand to hand. It's the 30 minutes Candace above just Gigi and Bob Bambietto. Now this category I don't really care about too much. It could go either way, but the issue is Candace likes to use swords. She also likes to use that mini Raikiri thing where she puts a lightning around her hands in base. Bambi likes to use a sword as well. Same with Candace likes to use a sword. So like this qualifier, this one ranking just doesn't work. Because that's not necessarily how some people fight. Some people like to use weapons. Some people like to use it to amplify their hand-to-hand combat with other things. Now, is either trolling or he's trying to give it in such a way where it's like, in this scenario, this specific scenario, this is what happens. In this specific scenario, this is who wins. Oh, but in other scenarios, it also can be different. Now, the probably part is very wrong for an author to be saying probably here, because the author should know exactly what ought to happen. If the author is saying probably, that means there is a possibility that that situation is not the case. So this could be completely wrong. This order. Because he uses the word probably. The author should know, should be able to give you a definitive answer for this, is why this case. Because he's the one who's making it, he's the one that knows it. But the issue is, he's saying probably, which means it's not a definitive answer, which means there's also situations where it's not the case. And the fact that the author is saying probably is extremely weird and vacuous. I got this from Mr. Tomo's stream, so if you want to question the authenticity of it or the thing, like, it's some validity to the translation. I'm pretty sure he got his translation from M shows, so shout out to M shows, but no one watches my streams anyway, so lol. I'm not big enough for that to be the case. So that is the case. If you want to see, so like the video, like the video. Don't like the video, don't like the video. This is hopefully I won't have to do another restream with this. I'm hoping that I don't hear lightning when I watch the live stream. But give me a second. I think I covered everything. Yep. And I talked about yeah. So I'm probably gonna do another. So the next stream is gonna be probably a Naruto vid of some type of category. I need to figure out that. I don't know what video it's gonna be. I just know it's gonna be part of the Naruto series. Anyway, if you like the video, like the video. If you don't like the video, don't like the video. I'll see you in the next one.